Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Billy Napier, the Florida Gators really starting to get things going in the 2025 high school recruiting class as they land the commitment from top 100 national prospect, one of the top defensive linemen in the 2025 cycle, Jalen Wiggins. And this is a guy that turning on the film, like there's a lot of things that you like. And probably the thing that I like most is from a physical trait standpoint. I mean, there's not a lot of boxes that Jalen Wiggins does not check. He has very good length. He's an extremely fluid athlete for the size and kind of reminds me of Kelby Collins coming out of high school, where you see this big body that's extremely fluid. And a guy like Jalen Wiggins has the frame to get up to 280, 290 pounds, but has the athleticism to kind of stay at that 260 range and be a really good edge rusher. Very exciting to see where Jalen Wiggins goes into that senior year, a guy that can play on the inside, can play on the outside. But again, from a physical trait standpoint, checks a lot of boxes. Want to dive into the Jalen Wiggins film, talk a little bit about Josiah Abdullah, who committed to the Florida Gators late last night. Before we get into it, just want to say thank you to you guys, and I'm pumped. The 2025 recruiting class really getting started. Excited to kind of break down all of these commitments. And for the Florida Gator fans, I mean, this is a program we talk a ton about on the high school trail. You guys continue to show a ton of love, a ton of support. Cannot thank you guys enough. If y'all do enjoy the content, you enjoy the updates, consider subscribing to the channel. And without further ado, I want to get into Jalen Wiggins. But first, I want to give a few shout-outs. One, Gerald Chapman coming over from Tulane, really getting it going in the recruiting department on the defensive line. But more importantly, it's nice to see Billy Napier really dig his teeth in terms of developing and getting talent in that front seven of the defense, right? You go back to the 2024 class, landing LJ McCray, landing guys like Miles Grahams and Aiden Childs. Now, fast forward to the 2025 class, you're starting to build it again in the trenches with a guy like Jalen Wiggins. You have Brian Taylor coming in from the JUCO ranks as well. You look at this front seven from a talent and depth standpoint, you're starting to feel pretty good if you're the Florida Gators. Now, talking about Jalen Wiggins, I mean, there's a reason he's a top 100 national prospect, really thought of as one of the top defensive linemen in this class. One, the big body, but extremely fluid athlete. And that's kind of what you're looking for these guys on the defensive line. You'll teach them how to use their hands, how to use their body in the pass rush, but you want the physical traits coming out of high school. That's what Jalen Wiggins has. Another thing that I am excited about is the versatility. A guy that you see line up as an edge rusher. You see him line up as that three tech. A guy that can do a lot of things on the defensive line. And the final thing I want to talk about, and we'll see this on the film, and that's the motor. And something that is not talked enough about in terms of edge rushers and defensive linemen, a lot of the conversation goes to the physical traits, right? What do you offer from a physical standpoint? And not enough goes into the evaluation on, okay, what does it look like when he puts on the pads in the helmet on Friday nights? Jalen Wiggins plays the game the right way. He's extremely productive as a sophomore, had over 70 tackles, 19 tackles for loss, 14 sacks. So you're getting a guy that physically checks those boxes. I think he plays the game the right way and has been productive on Friday nights. Very exciting get. Want to dive into the film a little bit. And the first thing you're going to see is what we're talking about in terms of being a fluid athlete, right? As a tight end here leaks out, and you're going to see some dynamic speed in the open space from a guy that, again, this is a 250-pound guy outrunning defensive backs for a 70-yard touchdown. So you see the speed, you see the burst that he brings to the table, and then you see the motor. Again, right, very, very strong hands in terms of getting into this tackle. Doesn't necessarily work immediately, continues to work, continues to get after the quarterback, ends up getting a sack. And again, motor is something that I think is really underappreciated. And you see here working, I want to run this one back here, you see a little bit of the versatility. Right, this is a guy that has the frame to get up to that Kelby Collins weight of 275, 280 pounds. And you see him working as the three tech here in the guard, really just not having the athleticism to work against a guy like Jalen Wiggins. So the versatility, the physical traits that you have, here you see the closing speed, right? A little rollout trying to move the pocket, works through a defender, goes and makes the play. A guy that has the closing speed, has the ability to operate in space. There's not a lot of things that Jalen Wiggins doesn't really bring to the table. And again, you see the depth, you see the burst off the line of scrimmage. A lot of things to like about Jalen Wiggins. Now, I want to talk a little Josiah Abdullah, too, who committed late last night. Had a chance to watch a little bit of his film. A couple of things that really stood out for Josiah Abdullah. One, mean, this is a guy that's a playmaker, right? In terms of special teams, when he has the football in his hand and he has the ability to operate in space, I mean, that's probably where he excels the most. And you take a look at a guy like Eugene Trey Wilson, that was kind of his MO coming out of high school as well, right? When he has the football in space, he's making people miss. He's using the top end burners to kind of hit that big play. Josiah Abdullah, maybe not quite the speed that Trey Wilson has, although runs an 11.24 100-meter dash. You see the smoothness in terms of how he operates. And that's both with the football in his hands and with the football out of his hands as well. So when he's running routes, he's creating separation, running smooth routes. But when he has that football in his hands, not only is he a straight line guy, he's a guy that has the ability to make people miss as well. So Josiah Abdullah, a guy that was a Michigan target, was an Alabama target, coming to Florida. I mean, it sounds like the official visit weekends for the Florida Gators this weekend was very, very successful. And it's nice to see Billy Napier begin to stack another good class for the Florida Gators in 2025, right? There have been some growing pains in terms of on the field, but you look at the talent that's coming to this program, that's probably what excites you the most. Jalen Wiggins, Josiah Abdullah, two very, very nice gets for the Florida Gators. You guys know I'm excited. Billy Napier can get it done on the trail. Now it's time to put it on the field, but hey, there's a lot of talent coming in this program, a lot of reason for the Florida Gator fans to be excited. We'll continue to update you guys, excuse me, as Billy Napier and the Florida Gators continue to do work on the high school trail. Appreciate you guys checking the boys out. If you all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later